Attends, c'est Yann Barthès qui dit ça.
J'ai honte maintenant de parler en anglais quand je parle français parce que j'ai vu quelques vidéos. T'as vu ces vidéos ils se moquent de moi en disant ouais, il parle en français.
Tu te rends compte que les gens qui se moquent de toi ne savent pas parler un seul mot en français?
Mais come on, baby.
Bah ouais.
Le même Yann Barthès qui se moque dès qu'un Français ouvre la bouche en anglais.
And the emergency exit is you did the rear.
On m'envoie souvent des extraits de quotidien.
Please, be quiet. Be quiet.
Et à chaque fois, je suis mal à l'aise. Aujourd'hui, j'aimerais vous donner ma perspective de coach d'anglais pour essayer de comprendre ce qui pose vraiment problème dans ces séquences. Pourquoi en France, on a créé un vrai cercle vicieux autour de l'anglais et pourquoi il est temps de changer cette culture. Parce que le problème, ce n'est peut-être pas votre anglais. So, watching this clip of Timothée brought up so many different thoughts for me. First of all, how I think this show, Quotidien, just perfectly illustrates this problem, the problem that we're going to talk about today, but also just sort of how this whole situation is quite uniquely French. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like there are no other countries in the world where people make fun of each other in a foreign language class. Of course there are. From my experience, that mostly happens in schools and between teenagers. But honestly, there is something so uniquely French about the intensity with which grown adults genuinely make fun of each other. This was actually something that kind of shocked me and made me quite uncomfortable when I first came to France and I taught in a few classrooms. Yeah, it's not nice. So I want to have a look at some of these clips together because I think that maybe if you've just seen this kind of thing your whole life and you watch the clip and everyone's laughing, it might be easy to just think, that's normal, but I'd like to watch them together and share my reaction, and maybe that will give you, I suppose, a different perspective on what is happening, which I hope might make you see the situation a little bit differently, if you're not already uncomfortable with what you see. Let's start with this clip of Macron.
Et pour le début, je vais m'adresser au prof d'anglais.
C'est moi.
Prenez-en de la graine. Repeat after me. Si, c'est un chouche mistake.
This is a huge mistake.
Si, a chouche mistake. Vous avez like chouche.
There is nothing wrong with the way that he said that. There is nothing wrong with it. Does he sound like a native speaker? No. No one cares. Except for Yann Barthès, I don't know.
Repeat after me.
And to have cooperation between government and private sectors to fix this issue.
And to have cooperation between governments and the private sector to fix this issue. And I guess, like, if you didn't understand that, that's fine. That's totally fine. There is no problem if you didn't understand that. But I guess Macron's not really talking to the French public, because if he were, he would just speak French. Yeah, very strange. Okay.
Encore plus compliqué.
I don't want to be longer, I was already very long.
It's really hard to watch this. It's hard to understand how this can really be categorized as, I don't know, is it news? Is this like a news show? News or entertainment? I don't know. It definitely makes me feel very uneasy watching this. It's like watching someone be bullied. And everyone's just laughing and everyone's just acting like this is normal. That's what's so confusing and so strange when I watch these clips. But the next clip I want to talk about is, maybe not surprising, this awful decision to make fun of this poor guy, this poor young man who had just witnessed the terrorist attack in Australia.
Bondi Beach est rempli de touristes de toutes les nationalités. Saurez-vous trouver le témoignage qui a mis du baume au cœur?
Just gone for a swim up in North Bondi after work for a little bit.
We heard all these, what we thought was fireworks.
I am in Australia since 2 days.
Est-il espagnol, italien ou peut-être français?
Me, I am very shocked.
Ok, choqued. Il est français.
And it is actually not a crime to be French in Australia, so you'll be glad to know.
Alors oui, ce qu'il raconte n'est pas vraiment drôle, mais la manière qu'il a eu de le raconter, de raconter cet événement, voici son histoire.
Okay, so he's like the disclaimer, which is like, yeah, we know, blah, 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 but we're gonna bully him anyway. I guess that was the école de journalisme. They were like, ah ouais, mais on va juste dire ça, et après, ça passe. Like,
It's my first time. I say me and my friend go in the to beach.
Alors on a eu un problème de traduction, car comment traduire Rias, en anglais ou en français?
I say one friend, what is the best beach? He say me Bondi Beach.
Alors si vous n'avez pas compris, je traduis, son ami lui a conseillé d'aller à Bondi Beach, il est témoin de l'attaque, et pour celles et ceux qui ne comprennent pas l'anglais, sachez que « me » veut dire « moi ».
This is already so gross.
I look this, me, and one moment the man in the gun he say me this me I go before the car. Yes.
He aimed at you.
Me moi.
Sachez également que le verbe cacher ne se conjugue pas en anglais.
I say this. I'm cashed. I listen. Boom boom. I cashed.
Cacher, cached, cached.
But what is just also so cringe for me is he has those big cards. Ils ont même préparé l'harcèlement. Il y a un petit stagiaire chez Quotidien qui a dû aller chez Vistaprint pour imprimer les cartes comme ça avec mis et caché. It's so gross. It's so gross. They thought about how they're going to bully this person.
Alors on adore Rias, il leur a même mis un peu d'espagnol.
Ah ouais, mais on adore Rias, on adore. It's this disgusting way how bullies, they're like, oh no, but I love you, you're my friend. And then they just absolutely shit on you. Friends don't do that. Friends don't print out bullying flashcards. And if you need to print out flashcards for your joke to land, maybe your joke just isn't that funny.
One mother, there is a... Comment se dit ça en English? Brandy.
Ce à quoi je rajoute wesh.
Did you ever think you'd see something like this in Sydney?
In Sydney? What? Sorry?
Did you ever think you would see something like this in Sydney?
Yes, il a dit quoi, wesh?
Alors on a essayé de se projeter, d'essayer de comprendre ce que les Australiens avaient compris dans ce témoignage français un peu mignon.
I asked some Australian people to watch that clip and I asked them if they understood the story. Yes, I definitely can understand him. Yes, I can mostly understand him. It's fine. The journalist there seems just pretty happy to be getting the scoop, to be speaking to Rias, to be getting his first-person account. And obviously, this is just indicative of a bigger problem in the culture. And you only have to take one look at some of the comments on, not this video, but the sort of original interview, to see a huge difference between the comments that are left in French and the comments left by English speakers. First time in my wife. I am cachette. Yes, is the Giroud. I cached. I cached. L'anglais un désastre. I ramasse the mother, MDR, mini sniper. You see the vibe. When you look at the English comments, it's like two different worlds. We've got people here, someone please check on this young man. Well done for helping this woman. It must have been really scary. Bless, he's trying so hard. The most important thing is not your English, it's your courage. I will say there are a few French comments, of people who totally disagree with this, right? Je lis les commentaires, il n'y a encore que des Français pour critiquer, il est clairement traumatisé, shame on everybody. There actually was, thankfully, some outrage about this in the media.
C'est une pure saloperie.
Le programme s'est moqué lundi soir d'un témoin de l'attaque terroriste antisémite de Sydney en Australie.
I understand that this specific situation was particularly appalling given the circumstances, but what I'm sort of trying to say is that it's always appalling. It's always bad behavior. It's always bullying. Now, some people say to me, well, what about Jan? What about his English? I want to see him speak English. So I did think about it. I thought, should we rate Jan's English? But I realized I don't really want to give him the honor. On this channel, we talk about people, cultural figures who are kind of influential. We always try to be kind and we use their experiences speaking English as a learning opportunity. Now, I'm not really confident that I could be objective with Jan at this moment, especially after having watched, some of these yucky clips. And also because what I really want to highlight is it doesn't matter. Being good at English or bad at English, whatever, doesn't give anyone the right to make fun of someone else's attempt to speak another language. I feel like it would almost be worse if he were really amazing. I did look at some clips. I saw this interview with Kylie Minogue, which was kind of awkward. He was doing too many things and he was mostly reading. Another one with Barack Obama, but he was just reading from a teleprompter, so he can read. But we don't even really have any good clips of him speaking English in a spontaneous way. And again, it doesn't matter. And I suppose we should say it's not just Jan Barthès who does this. Of course, he could refuse to do this segment. There's a whole team at Quotidien, a whole team of people who come up with this idea and approve it, which is almost worse. So I suppose I want to bring this all together by sort of just talking about this whole situation in French culture in general. Because of course, we see this on television, most notably on Quotidien. I think most people watching this will have some kind of memory that they can go to very quickly where someone made you feel self-conscious, made you second-guess yourself, or made you feel bad about yourself. And I think that was articulated perfectly by Timothée. You know, he's in the middle of speaking and he stops and he's got this other monologue in his mind saying, oh my gosh.
J'imagine déjà le TikTok qui se moque de moi, mais bon.
And you know, it really affects your ability to just be yourself when you're constantly anticipating what other people might say of you, this kind of criticism. This kind of thing happens all the time in French society. I've seen it happen. And I feel like when you see it on television, like normalized in this way, like everyone's laughing, like, ha ha ha, oh my God, that's so funny. Oh, when someone speaks English in front of me, that's what I should do. I should make fun of them. Everyone's gonna laugh. It's gonna be so funny. But if you've ever been the person who's been made fun of, and I think most people have, you know it's not funny. Actually, like it's awful. I see this as a real point of trauma for a lot of French speakers. And I'm not a psychologist. This is just my little observation of life. Often what can happen with trauma is that maybe you have been made fun of in the past, and the next time you see somebody else speak English, make a little mistake, you think, oh, I was made fun of for that. So this person's not going to get away with it. And then it's just like this cycle continues. And again, I don't think it's a conscious thought process. I do not believe that the entire population of France is mean. I just don't believe that. I just think that there's been this vicious cultural cycle of being overly critical. And people are just repeating that without thinking about it. I think a really good exercise to do in this situation is to go back. Maybe you have a specific memory in mind where someone, maybe a teacher, a classmate, a friend, made you feel bad about your language skills. Think about what happened and how it made you feel. And then also think about how maybe you would have liked that situation to go. What could have changed that would have made that a good experience for you? And then when you see someone else in that situation, try to be the person that creates that good situation. Be the person that turns that situation into what you would have liked. I do want to say that it is possible that maybe Yann actually went to therapy and reflected on himself, and maybe that's why he made this comment to Timothée, and maybe he was never planning on bullying anyone again for their English skills. If that's the truth, I'm very happy. I think my comments still stand, but I would be super happy to see that. But if I get one more DM of a nasty little segment, I don't know what I'll do. I probably won't do anything, but I won't be happy. I'll be disappointed. That hurts the most, doesn't it? Disappointment. If you're interested in hearing more of my ramblings, you might like to sign up for my newsletter. But if you are interested in watching objective analyses of some of your favorite celebrities speaking English, certified bullying free, you might like to check out this playlist. Bye.